How's everyone doing this morning? On a scale from 1 to 10, how is everyone doing this morning, ma'am?
7.3.
7.3. Any 10s in the room? Okay. Well, welcome. I believe this is the first session being held in the room, and I'd like to think we're kicking off Affiliate Summit, but we're very close to kicking off Affiliate Summit because I think there was some other activity this morning. But welcome. I will be your moderator for today's panel on monetizing blogs for affiliate marketing and SEO. My name is Chris Jones. I am the president of a company called Pepperjam. Pepperjam is an interactive marketing agency and affiliate network through our technology called Pepperjam Network. I founded the company, and it was acquired last year in September by a publicly traded company called GSI Commerce. We've been working with GSI Commerce since then to position ourselves as the leading affiliate network in the United States. I'd also like to introduce our panelists, and I asked the panelists just to say who they are, maybe a little bit of background, anything interesting that they'd like to share with you. So without further ado, let's start with Drew Bennett.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Andrew Bennett, and I'm from benspark.com. And what I do is I take a photograph every day. That's what I do to build up my audience. I've been doing that for nearly 5 years straight. And I also work with companies like IZEA as an IZEA insider.
Hi, I'm John Carcutt. I'm a straight SEO guy. I've been doing this for like a dozen years or so. I currently work for a company called MediaWhiz. You may not have heard that. You might have been familiar with some of our products. We own TextLinks ads, the Monetizing network. And we actually own Scribefire, if anybody remembers that, but nobody uses it anymore. Down in Florida, I host a radio show for SEO, SEO 101 on webmasterradio.com, or .fm, excuse me. He's going to shoot me for that. Every Monday, 5 o'clock, tune in. Thanks.
Can everyone hear us okay? There's some noise coming out of the room over there. I don't know. No?
Yep.
We need a little bit more volume. Okay, great. And there's some noise coming out over the right over there. I don't know if we could do anything about that. It's probably the waiting line. It's the waiting line for people who want to come into our room, probably. Go ahead, Tim.
Hi, I'm Tim Jones with therealtimjones.com. I got my start in business online in 2000 in the travel niche, specifically Florida travel. I live in Florida and split my time between Jacksonville and Orlando. And on The Real Tim Jones, I blog about affiliate marketing and blogging and just my experiences in that industry since 2000.
Hi, I'm Murray Newlands. I'm founder of the Affiliate Heat affiliate network. I also blog at murraynewlands.com, word-of-mouth marketing blog.com, inboundmarketingblog.com. I do a lot of blogging about what's happening in the industry, what's happening with networks, what's happening at the events, and really about how affiliates and bloggers can reach out and communicate and get in more conversations with different types of communities and audiences.
Excellent. So the reason that this blog was, or that this panel was put together was really to bring together bloggers, affiliates, and SEOs, and not so distinctly, right? How many in this room would consider yourself an affiliate marketer? How many in this room would consider yourself an SEO? And how many of you in this room would consider yourself a blogger? Is there anyone in this room that considers themselves only one of any of those three? So there's a lot of overlap. There's only a couple of hands who actually think that they're just a blogger or just an SEO or just an affiliate. Well, in putting together this panel, you know, the panelists really spent a lot of time together, and we talked about, you know, what is it that a blogger could learn from an affiliate marketer, pure affiliate marketer, a traditional affiliate marketer, and the same goes for SEO. So that's the purpose of this panel. It's a moderated Q&A. I'm hoping to do that for about half of the allocated time, and then for the rest of the time, we're going to engage you, the audience. So as I'm asking questions here, think of some follow-ups. And then when that time comes, we have a podium over here to the right where you could line up and ask questions. But let's just start with sort of the basics. You need a blog, I guess, to be a blogger. So what's the preferred blog software? What's the hottest blog software out there right now that includes the benefits of SEO as well as ultimately affiliate marketing? We'll start with you, Drew.
WordPress.
Yeah, I think it'd be probably across the board. WordPress is the leader with some up-and-comers.
Without a doubt. And WordPress, from my experience, is the most SEO friendly out of the box, out of all the packages.
And is that why? Is that because there's just the most available plugins that cater to SEO and to other social networking things?
It's so customizable, and there are plenty of plugins for that, for SEO, for affiliate marketing, and for community building.
From an SEO perspective, out of the box, WordPress is just clean. Everything, the way it's built, the way it's put together, there's not a lot you have to do to make those pages index and make them rank, other than make sure you have good targeted content and such. But with some of the other platforms, you got to go in and tweak how the URLs are built. You have to tweak this, you have to tweak that. You can still do that in WordPress, but you don't need to do nearly as much.
I mean, ultimately, once you select your blog software, these guys are all saying that WordPress is the way to go. The good news for those of you that haven't started a blog yet is that WordPress is free. So ultimately, you need no upstart capital to go ahead and become a blogger. But of course, once you become a blogger, the question is, how do you develop that blog, and then ultimately and ideally, which is the purpose of this panel, how do you monetize it? So let's go to the next step, which is, okay, you've selected WordPress. Surprised nobody said Tumblr, because I know that's more of a kind of a newer age, more social media inclined blog softwares, but we'll focus on WordPress. So you've selected WordPress. Murray, what makes you a unique blogger? How did you take WordPress and build the really incredible brand, the very well-known brand that you've created called Murray Newlands?
I think really working out what kind of content is going to be viral and attract a lot of people to come to it. And for me, when I started blogging, I thought about what kind of things would both people want to come to, as well as other people would share. And one of the things I started to do sort of early on was to interview people within the industry. That, for me, is great because we're able to actually connect with lots of other people and lots of other bloggers in particular, in my case. You're providing good content in the questions and answers that they provide. Also, the other thing is that because you're actually engaging with other people all the time through the site and through the content, they share when you interview someone, they tend to promote it and they tend to share that content. And therefore, the content that you're providing in itself is a mechanism for promoting the site. And the more someone, if you're looking, people write to me and say, can I be interviewed on your site? And presume lots of the time they're doing that because they want to raise their own profile. But when they do that, then they share that on Twitter, they share that on Facebook, they get their friends to share it on Twitter, they get their friends to share it on Facebook. They also tend to blog about the fact that they've been interviewed, which is another link into my site. So by its very nature, the content which I'm producing with those interviews is very viral, and then also leads to then people coming around and seeing the rest of the site. The other thing is that obviously if you're writing about lots of different people who are in the industry, they're kind of micro brands in themselves, and so you're sharing their audience with you, and you'll also end up ranking for their name probably with the interview, and therefore you're actually covering a lot of brands within the sector that you're looking for, that people will be searching for, and so all of the time you're actually building your own brand as you're working with building other people's brands. And that's one thing, actually, the more you can help and promote other businesses, other services, and other brands, the more that you're going to be actually promoting your own brand.
Drew, how about you sharing sort of your perspective on where do you start once you create the blog? I mean, you did something really unique that apparently has caught on. Why did you select doing that, and why has it been so successful?
Well, when I first started out, my blog was just, a journal. Just, this is what I'm doing. This is where I'm going. I traveled a lot. I wanted the family to know what was happening. Then I got inspired to take a photograph every single day. Started in 2005. And basically, that gave me a jumping off point to talk about whatever's happening. The photo brought people back to say, oh, this is something interesting. It's visually interesting. I want to take a look at that, and maybe I'll stop for a moment and read what this guy has to say. I respond to every single comment that has come into my blog. Anything that anyone has ever written, I've written back. I've responded in one way or another. Everything on Twitter, everything on Facebook. I just engage. So through that, I went through the photo a day process. I got connected with a company called, a service online called ShutterCal. They create just photo a day. It's a calendar that you can use. So again, I put my photo out on ShutterCal. My photos are out on Flickr. This year now they're on Picasa and on Zoomer, on Facebook. I just put them everywhere, and I engage with people in all of those places. So by doing that, by creating, because people know that I'm going to engage back with them, they know that there's a real person behind the blog. So I think that's very important, to be a real person behind what's happening there out in the blog. Sorry, popping my piece.
I have a follow-up for you. So you did something really unique that caught on. Puts a picture on his blog, a new picture on his blog every day. And clearly that gets people coming back to the blog. But once they come back to the blog, what do you personally do? And it sounds like engaging them, but I'll let you answer it again. What do you do to keep them coming back, beyond just the picture?
Beyond just the picture, connecting with people on their different profiles, connecting with them on Twitter, on Facebook, retweeting their stuff, actually pulling them into different things that I'm doing. So I create contests. This year is more focused on photography-related contests and posts. I highlight other people's photos, just different ways to engage online. I also created a newsletter. Is that me humming?
It's probably the microphone.
Created a newsletter for anybody who wanted to know kind of like behind-the-scenes stuff, photography tips. Also got myself out there doing guest posts on different blogs like jimkukral.com, on Datomatic, on a number of other places. So really trying to promote other people's stuff to have them in turn come back and take a look at what I've got to say on my own blog.
Tim, someone signs up to WordPress for free. They're about to start their blog. What kind of advice do you have, just in that startup phase, for them to actually begin laying the seeds to eventually monetize the blog, which we'll talk about later?
Well, I just want to comment real quickly
Sure.
on the last two also. I think what you're hearing is when you're first getting started, there needs to be a lot of interaction off your blog. I think a lot of people spend a lot of time developing their blog and really focusing on that. And it's almost counterintuitive, but you really need to get out of that little cubbyhole onto other sites, guest posting and things like that. The key is, and to answer your question, is that when you do go to these other sites, when you do guest post, comment, participate outside in social networks, there needs to be something there for them to come back to. And when you're first getting started, you need to have some foundation. You need to have clear niche, clear keywords you're targeting, categories that you've set up ahead of time before you write the post, not as you're going along, and have a good foundational base started so that when they do come back after you're participating off-site, when they do come back, there's good information there that's going to keep them there and want them to come back and subscribe.
Excellent. So we're now at the stage where we have a blog, we're building content, and ultimately, whatever that content is, or whatever, if you're going to be creative like Drew and do a picture a day or a video a day, those kind of things are great. But now we get to the point where, okay, I have a blog, I've decided on a certain theme, content, I'm going to use video, I'm going to engage social networks. I want to drive traffic to the site. let's start with John. John, you know, clearly one of the smartest, most effective ways to drive traffic to your blog is through search engine optimization. So what are some, and you also have a bit of a blogging background as well.
Sure.
What are some of the common mistakes that these other guys make, no offense, I'm just kidding, that bloggers make in terms of setting up their system that they could improve on through some advice you could share?
Probably, well, there's different levels and different places you can make mistakes. There's places you can make mistakes when you're setting up your blog, when you're creating your content, and a lot of stuff they're talking about recently about reaching outside really results in a lot of link building. So when you're first setting up your blog, the most common mistake I see, especially with WordPress, and I've seen this numerous times, is, and it's a really simple little technical thing, is by default, WordPress puts a robots no follow, robots meta tag that says no follow, no index on all your pages. So when you're setting up, it asks you, do you want your site to be found by the search engines? So many people just ignore that and go on, but its default is no. So you got to go back in and make sure that you're allowing the search engines to find your site in the first place. It sounds simple, but you can't believe how many times I've seen that happen. And when it comes to content, I see a lot of people really trying to do too much too soon, as Tim put it earlier today, and try to talk about way too many things, either through their site as a whole, have like 100 different categories, or on an individual post. There's something we call keyword dilution. If you're talking about a topic and you go off topic on your same post, you just diluted the strength of that particular post for your target terms. So dilution is an issue. Keep focused on your posts. When you're first starting, do 3 or 4 categories. Don't try to be everything to everybody right off the bat. So that'll help you from a search engine perspective because you're really being focused on what you're writing about.
Murray, how about you? What are some of the steps that you take to make your blog more search engine optimized?
One of the common mistakes I see is that people actually try and optimize their title tags, for example, for the name of their blog, rather than actually focusing on a particular subject or a particular title. Also, people, I suppose, don't necessarily look at don't do a keyword. If you go to Google, you type in keyword tool, you can find Google's keyword tool that will tell you the number of searches which people are offering for searching for each month for particular terms. And they're not actually focusing on the titles of their posts and the content of their posts, actually looking at what people are searching for. The other thing that they don't do is really don't research what it is that they're trying to target with the keywords within the particular types of content. And the other thing is not interlinking between different posts. One of the strongest ways to get SEO value into different posts and make them rank is to actually interlink between the posts. And things like related post plugins, which automatically pick up between the keywords as to where you should be linking to, and using some of the plugins that are available can make a huge difference. The other thing that I started to do that became really effective for me was that once a week or once every 2 weeks, I'll have a roundup post and I'll have a summary and I'll link back to all of the posts I've written about over the last couple of weeks and interlink those roundup posts, which means that you're then getting a post so every post on your site definitely has a link back to it. And there are some simple plugins that do that, and people just don't even try and engage in that kind of basic research about how to SEO the site.
Just to follow up on the keyword research tool, and I think that's a great point. When you're doing your writing and you're looking at your keyword research and you're going to target a specific topic, don't just target it to find out what terms you should use. Figure out what variants of the term, because I've seen there's times when you can say, okay, I'm going to write about brand new home construction. Well, is home construction the right term, or is brand new houses? I mean, the difference between home and house and keyword volume could be really dramatic. So if you do that prior to even starting your article, you can really make an impact sometimes.
Tim, do you have anything to add in terms of what are some of the things that you actively do to better position your site in the organic search rankings?
Again, I'm going to come back to the same thing where it's participating outside your blog. There's lots of different sites that provide you the opportunity to participate and at the same time drive traffic back, things like Squidoo or hub pages, things like that, where you're creating content off your blog site, but it's linking back to you. Article writing. I've even tried PPC just to drive traffic to my blog, but again, you have to be targeted about it. That's the beauty of a blog, is you have all these different topics and posts that are, if you do it right, are targeted towards specific topics, driving PPC traffic to that. You're paying less for that PPC traffic because it's very well targeted, it's very topical. So those are some of the other ways that I do to drive traffic.
The two things I'm thinking, number one, my question for you guys is there any advice you have for setting up the blog a certain way, or taking advantage of any plugins or anything that will, and some advice has already been given, but that will, from an on-site standpoint, really set you up well? And then secondarily, any strategies for building links, because ultimately the more links that come into your site, as you guys know, the more authority you have in the eyes of Google and the more likely it is that you're going to be ranked. So John, real quick, on those two things?
Definitely.
Any plugins or anything like that?
When you're setting up, and again, I'm going to focus, since we kind of all agreed that WordPress is the primary one, and it has the most ability, you have the ability to customize it quite a bit. And I said it does need some tweaking. So when you're setting it up, one of the things you want to look for is the permalink structure. And there's a number of different ways you can customize that. And until version, I think it was 3.0, no, excuse me, it was 2.6 of WordPress, it was really a problem if you set up your permalink structure with just the name of your post. So if you just put the name of the post as the URL, so you can get your keywords in there and everything, it was an issue because if you duplicated it, it could crash your database. So if you're upgrading your WordPress and you're past 2.5 or 2.6, that's not a problem, and that's what I recommend. Use the title of your post as your URL structure. So if you have a post named, my favorite dog, your URL is going to be .com/my-favorite-dog.html or PHP or whatever you want it to be. That's one of the simplest things you can do, and one of the things I always recommend to do in WordPress when you're setting it up. One of the things that also is a lot of controversy in WordPress is categories and tag pages and whether you should allow those to be indexed. A lot of people say, no, you're going to get duplicate content issues. If you have all your category pages and you have all your tag pages and you have all your archive pages all indexed in the search engines, you're going to have duplication problems. I don't agree with that. Specifically, if you're using, if you're set up your blog so that you're only showing a snippet of the post on most places like articles and categories and even your homepage, and they have to click through to read the whole thing, you're not going to have a duplicate content issue, especially on tag pages. That's actually a great way to get traffic, is to have snippets on tag pages. You have very targeted pages with a bunch of articles about the same topic. What's better than that from a search perspective? Categories are the same way. The one thing I would definitely recommend to do if you set it up that way, do not have tags and categories that are the same. Then you would end up with a duplicate. But it's not going to be a huge duplicate problem, because then either your category page or your tag page would get indexed, the other one wouldn't. Not a huge deal. But those, from setting it up from that perspective, I think those are some really good things you should start off with.
Any other comments, guys? Drew?
I think for, say, a specific plugin, if you're not using a theme like Thesis, where you can put in the meta keywords and the description right in Thesis, use a plugin like All-in-One SEO. That way you can craft the snippets, like John was saying. Those could include the specific keywords that you want to target, as well as being able to put in those meta tags as well. And you can also tweak the title of your post. So the title for the search engine can be different than the title that's appearing on your blog too. So for me, I title every one of my photos, because with that, it's my photo, and I want to title it something interesting for Flickr, but maybe I want it to be different for the search engines. Also, I want to just point out another thing too. When we were talking about driving traffic, by posting my photo in a number of different places, I always put a caption that links back to my blog. So having the photo in all 5, 6 different photo sharing sites with those links, I'm automatically every day granting myself 6 or 7 additional links back.
Something real quick about it, the SEO all-in-one plugin, 2 things actually. I was speaking at a WordCamp and asked the audience how many people use that plugin right now. Number yet. Okay, how many of you use it on every post? How many people just installed it and never really did anything else with it? And then, yeah, see, there's hands going up. If you're going to use it, you have to use it to make an impact for you. The second thing about that plugin, last month I actually got an email from my host telling me that they no longer support sites that are using that plugin, and I don't know why. So I don't know if there's any other hosts doing that, but it's something that I'm researching myself, but just something to be aware of.
I was just going to mention another plugin as far as SEO and site creation. Every time I create a new site, I install the Google XML sitemap plugin, just because Google wants a sitemap, and you can create your own, but why not just use a plugin and have it done for you every time you open a new site?
Here's the good news. I have all of the plugins and more that we talk about during this panel on the slide presentation here. Following this presentation, all of these plugins, as well as some of the links that we have at the end with links to wherever they go, will be on each of the panelists' blogs. So before you leave, make sure you write down the specific blogs of the panelists, and you'll be able to have that as a resource moving forward. So is there anything else? What about link building? I mean, link building from a non-blogging standpoint, from an agency standpoint, is absolutely critical. Do you guys do anything actively to try to get links back to the site to build authority?
Actually, I just want to jump in on that one. I first met Murray when he wanted me to do one of his interviews, and he really taught me about keyword specific. I run another blog called I'm Not a Famous Blogger, and Murray Newlands is known as the famous blogger, Murray Newlands. And so he said, you know, do you want to rank for famous blogger? I don't try to rank for really much anything. So when we were writing the post back to him, he said, instead of linking on my name, link on famous blogger. I never even, like, that kind of just, a light went off in my head on that one. So, like, to target the keywords for linking.
Yeah. I think for me it's, I mean, this is another sort of common, I suppose, common mistake and thing that a lot more bloggers I wish they would sort of focus on, in that if you're linking to someone and you want to help promote that site or that link, if you can work out, if you look at the blog and you work out that they're trying to optimize for a specific phrase or term, or that post is trying to optimize for a specific phrase or term, I mean, you might not want to necessarily link to, if they've got particularly if they've got a long post name and they're starting with a key phrase that you know they'll want to rank for, link to that post on the specific key phrase at the start of the post that they're trying to rank for, and that will help push them up. So make sure that you actually link to specific blogs on terms that they will want to rank for. And if you know someone's going to interview you or write about you, then ask them to link to you from specific pages to specific pages on specific terms. So on my blog, I actually have a list of terms that I want people to link to me from, and I have I tell people I want you to connect with me and link to me on this basis. Other strategies that have been really good are obviously to do lots of guest posts. If you're guest posting, try and guest post using the term that you want to get a link back from in the title, as well as making sure that's within the content, so that Google sees as a page which is about that specific term, with content about that specific term, and a link back to you with that specific term, or within the post linking back to you. Other strategies are, if you're going to be doing that, one strategy that works quite well for a lot of bloggers is to actually then to work cross. If you can find 10 different bloggers and you are getting exposure, you're doing guest posts, to actually say, you don't have to necessarily formalize it, in that there are a number of bloggers who, if they're guest posting somewhere, they will find a way to link to me within that guest post. And I'll then usually find a way to link to them within a guest post somewhere else, or to talk about what they're talking about. That gives you a higher exposure, both in terms of just people writing about you and seeing you and reading more about you, but also links coming in from a number of sources. And that sort of collective working forward can really help. And I wrote a post about blogging buddies and just ways to work with other people, other blogs, to actually get them to link to you, to make it known what kind of terms you're looking for. And a lot of that can be done at networking events. You don't just think about, well, I'm going to go home, I'm going to try and work out about how to do this. You're at a discussion about blogging. There are loads of bloggers in this room. Try and connect with them, work out how you can work together, work out how you can, why you might link to each other, what you're working on collective posts, and actually finding reasons to link to each other and share what you're doing. Can drive both traffic, community, as well as links.
Just to follow up with that a little bit, you made a couple of really good points. Just to re-emphasize what he said a second ago is, you don't want all your links going to your homepage. You want to make sure that people are linking to deep pages in your site, your articles specifically, other content you may have on your site's resources. Don't build all your links to the homepage. Organically, naturally, if people are just talking about you without your actual involvement, most of them are already going to link to your homepage anyway. You want to spend time trying to develop your links to those deeper pages. And when you're doing that, make sure that the site that's linking to you is related, the topic and the content is related to that deep page. So if you have a post on a certain topic, it's much better for you if the page that is linking to that topic is on the same topic. And using the anchor text is really important as well. Again, to follow up on something he was saying with the anchor text, if you ask somebody to link to you saying famous blogger, you don't want everybody always linking to you with only that phrase. You want to have a variety of terms people link to you that are related. So if you end up with 1,000 links that all say famous blogger, that could actually be a red flag unless you have 10,000 links. But if over 50% of your links use the same anchor text, they could take a look at you. It could be like, okay, something's going on here. They might not be doing natural link building. So keep your links diverse, the anchor text diverse, and deep link.
Excellent. So I think we've covered a lot on how you set it up and how you get traffic coming in. But I guess the most important question is how do you go from being doing this in your pastime to actually doing it full time and doing it independently, and hopefully making either spare money, spare income, supplemental income, or in the case of some of you guys and others that are in the audience, a career where you could actually make substantial money. So how do you monetize the blog, I guess, is the next question. And I'd like to go through each of you, starting with Drew and going down, but also I'd like you to address, how do you balance between, keeping your content independent, keeping your website worth coming back to, versus oversaturating it with ads and with other monetization strategies. So just, what are your thoughts on some tips for monetizing the blog, and how do you keep that integrity alive?
Okay, for me, different ways that I monetize my blog. One is I write sponsored conversations through a company called IZEA, so I participate a lot in their Social Spark program. I also do some affiliate marketing for products that I use myself, connected to some different affiliate companies like ShareASale and LinkShare. Also some affiliate stuff through the IZEA properties. The way that I keep the overall integrity of my blog is that I pick and choose what I want to talk about. If it's relevant to the audience, if it makes sense to be something that's on my blog. Anything that I promote is something that I'm using myself, so that I can write a genuine review about it. Sometimes when I'm looking for something that I want to write about, and I see a gadget that I like, I write to the manufacturer and I say, could you send me one? I really want to talk about your product. I'll do a search and see who's talking about that product. Is anyone talking about it? One of my most popular ones is from 2007, is because I take photos and I was really excited about geotagging. I found a company that had an automatic geotagger, but nobody was talking about it. So I wrote to them and they sent me one, and we've created a relationship. So I know that I have integrity with that because I've created a relationship with that company and talk about their product. I offer suggestions and ways that they could improve it, not just glowing reviews of it. So use your own voice and be genuine about it.
For me, it's really, I find my most success to get people to interact and do what I need on a site is education. If I can educate somebody, to me, I've always said education is the best lead gen there is. Because if you teach somebody how to do something, at one point they're probably going to run into a roadblock or have a question they can't figure out. They're going to go back to the person that taught them to begin with. They're going to go back to your site, see if they can find out, where's the answer to my question. So to me, education is without a doubt the way to keep people coming back, recommending you and getting that traffic in there.
Just to follow up, you just made me, so I was writing down, you just made me think of something. That's something too to think about when you're writing your posts. How is someone going to search on it? Is someone going to search on build a new home, or are they going to search on how to build a new home or how to contract your own home, something like that? So think about how someone may search for it. As far as monetization is concerned, I could rattle off 100 different ways to monetize a site, banner, text link ads, product creation, membership, all these different things. And what I always come back to is if you want either through affiliate marketing, blogging, to have a full-time income and have it to be a true business, you have to treat it like a true business. Disney doesn't go out and offer you a buy 4-night, get 3-night free offer willy-nilly without any research, just, hey, maybe that'll drive traffic to Disney. They do a lot of research, analytics, they treat it like a business. And the same is true for monetizing any site, whether it's a blog or a straight affiliate marketing site, is you want to think in terms of revenue streams and then research those revenue streams, find out what's going to work best for your niche, and focus on those. And in the process, you're going to test a lot of things, you're going to try a lot of things, some things are going to work, some things aren't going to work. You're going to spend money, you're going to have to spend money to do that. But the key is you're trying to find the key revenue streams that work for your niche that are truly going to make it a full-time income for you. And you have to think of it that way. You have to think of it like a business.
Okay, for me it's about conversations, both with taking a niche, taking an industry, what are the advertisers within that industry trying to do, what are they focusing on, what's their brand doing, what new products are coming out, trying to find out if they're going to be launching something in a few months' time. Is that a topic that you want to be developing content on, which people might be searching for in the future? Is it topics that they might want to, if you've got an audience which is talking about that topic area when that product or service comes out, that they will want to be engaged with or in, and that way they might want to buy a placement in your blog, but also if you've actually got that community, if people are coming to your site to find out more information educationally, for example, about that type of product or service, then they might buy through you because you will be the center of that. And also, if you've got good information, one of the posts that I have, which has the most number of links in, is a buying guide to a particular type of software service. That's obviously, it's highly educational. The people who were recommended within that buying guide built links to it themselves. They've tweeted about it hundreds of times. Other people have found it, have passed it on to other people as an educational material, so it's been viral in that sense. Once a month at least it gets picked up on Twitter, and then several people will Twitter about it several times. It's been on Facebook, on lots of different links in from Facebook at different points, and picked up in conversations within groups. So it's really trying to work out how you can build your content that not just is going to be great for your site, but also why should people actually link to it? Why would they want to Twitter about it? Why would it be viral?
Is there anything that is working really well in particular right now? Drew, you mentioned pay-per-post, but I know just last week on TechCrunch, was it Skimlinks pulled in a couple $1 million in funding, just like an in-link program. Is there anything that works especially well? Should a blogger looking to monetize their blog always use Google AdSense? Is there any do's and don'ts or anything that's hot right now that's making money? Anyone?
For me, a lot of the inquiries I'm getting actually now are more about brand building and connecting between companies who actually want to build out their social media reputation. A lot of companies out there, they want to be involved in conversations with bloggers. They're not sure how to. They're maybe scared to. They're not sure how to approach the whole social media environment. And so getting coverage on a blog which actually gives them that insight, working out how to connect with bloggers. For me, there's even within affiliate networks are coming to me and saying, can you help me with this process? Marketing departments want to be involved in social media, whether it's through the affiliate channel or whether it's more generally. And there's a huge opportunity for people who are experts at blogging, who really know about the affiliate space, and who can connect with lots of other people to really become involved in that. And that revenue which they generate is far exceeding anything that will be possible through Google AdSense, for example. The other thing, I suppose, is just generating your own products. If you've got a big blog, if you've got a good brand, then creating your own products, you should be able to create a product that's much more applicable to the audience you're getting than just Google AdSense.
I was just going to add a couple things too. You know, coming from an affiliate marketing background, something I don't see bloggers doing very often is integrating product feeds. And I think, for me personally, that has added a fair amount of revenue, worthwhile anyway, especially if you're in a specific niche and you can target those product feeds to that specific niche. I think that's a good way. The other thing that you're starting to see, and this goes back to my treating it like a business, businesses don't always just operate within one form or fashion. You're going to see people who have developed an authority online and developed a business online moving into the offline world, especially into local networks, and using that expertise to helping businesses or people within your own community. And I think that's another revenue stream that not many people who are in the online business think about, but I think is growing.
Excellent. There are a lot of people in this room. We have a microphone over here, and I know the panelists are looking forward to some targeted, hard questions that are going to stump them. So if you have a question, would you mind going over to the microphone? If the answer is no, or that you do mind, I have a microphone, and I'd be happy to engage with the audience and bring the microphone to you. Does anyone want to walk to the microphone?
Chris, could I add one more thing?
Sure, go ahead.
Just for creating an income stream. Another one is creating your own product. There are a number of people doing it, and there are also different programs that allow you to create things. So one of the things I try to do, along with what John said about education, is try to answer a question or solve a problem. And once I create that, can put it together into a product like an online course. So that's another revenue stream.
So I'm going to come out into the audience. And I apologize. The reason I asked you to do that is because this is actually being taped on video, and it's easier for him. Okay. Questions?
Hi, I'm David. This question is for John. Which host does not let you use all-in-one SEO plugin?
Say it again, I couldn't make it out.
Which web host does not let you?
I'm on DreamHost, sent me that.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
And if you could just say your name and where you're from.
My name is Sherry Tingley. I'm from Utah. This question is for Tim Jones. Could you go into a little bit more detail about how you use the product data feed to make money?
So, especially on a blog, I've used data feeds more as kind of after the conclusion of a blog post. It includes a data feed for specific items that are specific to what I just got done talking about. So things that people might be interested in. You'll see it on sites like, especially clothing sites or fashion sites. They'll talk about a specific shoe, then they'll have a data feed right below that that has the shoes that they just got done talking about available for purchase. Of course, they get affiliate commission through that. That's the way I think about using data feeds, and that's why I specifically said I think they're very good for sites that have a good targeted niche, because you want the data feed to match. You don't want it to be just random items following up your blog post or within your site that don't match with the content that you have there.
My question was more on the technical.
I'm sorry, technical standpoint. So I use a plugin. You have Golden Can, Pop Shops has a plugin. PHP Bay is a data feed plugin for eBay type items. So those are just the three I can think of off the top of my head, but there are data feed plugins for WordPress specifically. And then there's other different ways to integrate product feeds, but I don't want to get off, I mean, there's a product feed session, so I don't want to get into like a whole product feed thing, but for WordPress, for blogging, I use plugins. There's plenty of data feed plugins out there available.
Something to follow up on that with the SEO is a lot of those plugins and a lot of those data feeds are being pulled in with JavaScript. So any of that content that's in there is not going to be, most likely going to be indexed on your page, depending on how it's built. So you want to check that. If you want that content to be indexed, double check that before you start using that feed.
I didn't know that.
Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Carl. I'm from Texas. And I had a question for Drew. I'm sorry? Oh, I have a blog, carlrez.com. It's like 4 posts big, so it's, you know, pretty new. Anyways, I wanted to ask you, you had mentioned that you had approached some companies asking them for products to check out. How established was your blog at the time? I mean, had you been online for a couple of years? Did you have a pretty good traffic stream going? Or, I mean, is that something that someone has to, you know, wait for a good while before they can, they should try and do?
The worst anyone can say is no. So you can ask away. If you're passionate about what you're going to talk about, and you can establish that you have an audience, give them numbers. You know, businesses like numbers, numbers and graphs, and you know, things to back up your claim. So as far as when I approached a company, I actually did that after a company approached me, and that was in 2006 or so, when I had just started getting into the making money from my blog. I started my blog in 2003 and just kind of went along and didn't know that I could make any money from it until about 2006. And I was approached by a company, and then I said, you know, I'm going to go and I'm going to ask. So the worst anyone can say is no.
I just want to add to that too. You're right, businesses like numbers, but the other thing businesses like, and that will, in my opinion, in my experience, will get you much further as far as things like that are concerned, is to have a plan. You could have no traffic at all, but if you go to them and say, look, I plan to promote it here, 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 do this, 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 and you have a plan laid out for them, you're much more likely to get ahead even if you're just starting out.
Just to add to that, my experience with my blog, MurrayNewlands.com, is that I started to work with Eric at ClickBooth, who's sitting over there. And as soon as he started to advertise and I wrote a bit about the network, I was then seen to be having communication with one particular advertiser. And as soon as you're seen to have communication with one particular advertiser or in one niche, their competitors pick up on it, and you'll soon start to be approached by other people. So if you want to get products to this works as well with product sites. If you want to get products to review and you want to be engaged in that, start trying to actually engage with both the audience as well as the actual companies that produce the products, the brands that are in that niche. See if you can get some kind of dialogue and things happening back and forth, and that will soon be picked up within the community there, and therefore you'll start to be noticed, and you're much more likely to get products and advertisers on board.
Hi, my name is Mark, smarterbanner.com. I understand that most successful blogs are represented by real people. What's your take on the success of building a blog based on a brand, entity, or a product, or maybe a virtual entity? Specifically for Tim Jones, but anybody can answer.
I had a really hard time hearing you, I'm sorry.
What is your take on the success of building a blog based on a brand name, a product, or an entity that you build from the ground up?
So you're like talking about building a blog about a specific product or event or that kind of thing? Well, first of all, you're going to be competing against the actual product and event, so it's going to be a little bit tougher than, you know, if you're going for more generic phrases, which can also be competitive. But it really just depends on how tough the market is. If you're going after you know, Pepsi or Coke, you're going to have a hard time getting a blog that's going to compete in that level. But if you're going after a smaller product or an event such as this, you probably could have gotten some pretty good rankings for, you know, a conference or that kind of thing. So it really depends on the specific market and target that you're going after.
One thing I would say with building any site around a specific brand like that, well, a couple things. One is you're going to run out of content if you're going to try and focus just on that brand as your topic. And so what I recommend anytime you're going to do something that specific, which is great because in my opinion, the tighter your niche, the more successful you can be. But what you have to do is you have to include content that talks about the lifestyle that that brand gives you. What is it? Because that's what separates you from the big company. Is that the example that I gave back at Blog World was with the Vema energy drink. A lot of people are trying to develop just Vema sites. Well, what is it about Vema that's great? Is it the energy? Is it the lifestyle? Are you healthier? You don't go to the doctor as much? That's where you start to develop that content and include it, and it's targeted about that specific brand that's going to drive traffic to it and help you to overcome the size factor between you and the actual brand itself.
I think the other important thing there is to try and actually connect with the company and the brand that you're working with. What's always phenomenal is that if you're writing a post or a series of posts about a brand or a company, and you can actually you get communication from them, you align what you're doing with what they're doing. And there have been several occasions where I've been doing that and I've reached out and I've contacted the marketing people within those brands. They've actually linked to the posts which I've written to them, written about them. That's a phenomenal link in. It's great for them because they're making the content that you're producing that marries up with the message that they're putting out in the marketplace rank so that they want that kind of content to be found by people who are engaging with their brand. And what better way to get a link about whatever it is you're trying to promote than actually to get the company, the brand who have that brand to actually link to you.
That's actually a great point. I've even seen examples where a company has very strict guidelines on what they can say and can't say about themselves, and they've actually reached out or had a relationship with bloggers that can say that stuff that they can't. So that's another way to go about it as well. That's a very good point.
And another way too is also to show the product in action. So if you do video, if you take photos, just show that product in action and what your experiences are with that product. Like Tim was saying about promoting the lifestyle.
Hi, my name is Gail Goodwin. I have a site called InspireMeToday.com. It's an inspirational website. My question for you is this: if you're looking to if you're looking to monetize a site long term, do you feel it's, and this is to any one of the four of you or all four of you, do you feel it's more important to actually build that double opt-in list, or to just focus on the Alexa and the Google rankings to build the site traffic higher? Long term, do you suffer by going for both simultaneously, or would you choose one over the other?
For me, long term is about community. If you build a community on your site, it doesn't matter whether it came in through the engines or through your double opt-in list. It's about keeping people coming back to your site and having reasons for them, allowing them to make connections, not only with you on your site, with other people. If you can build some kind of social network on your site, that's what long term is today. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, and I agree. With that in mind, for me, and this is what I'm struggling with your question, is that it's all of it. You have to continue to provide valuable content on a consistent basis over the long term. Otherwise, you could have a big list, great Alexa rankings, but if you're not providing value to those people, you're getting a one hit and they're gone type of person. And long term, from a business standpoint, you want people that are going to continue to come back, build a community, and actually take ownership and start to feel like that site is their site, that they're part of it. And the only way you're going to do that is to provide consistent value to them.
I don't know, I would try not to go for, say, one or the other. I think I get about 70% of my traffic comes from Google. And quite frankly, I hate that, and it scares me because supposing that your ranking drops for whatever reason, if you build up a mailing list while you're getting the traffic, then you're independent of Google, for example. Equally, I now get, well, no, it can't be 70%, because I get a huge amount of traffic from Twitter. But supposing, for whatever reason, Twitter stopped for a month, that traffic wouldn't be there. And the same with, I now also get a lot of traffic from Facebook. So work at trying to make sure that not all of your traffic is determinant on one source or the other. I started adding a newsletter subscription featured on my site in December, and I've had a lot of people sign up to that, and boy, I wish I was doing that a long time before. So yeah, I would try and make sure you're getting as many methods as possible to draw traffic back to your site.
Any other questions from over this side of the room? We have time for 1 or 2 more questions.
She's not allowed to ask questions.
Hi, Stephanie Lichtenstein, microsteph.com. I used to use Google Alerts a lot, and it would usually help me keep track of other bloggers that were mentioning me in their posts. Now that Twitter and all that is in the Google searches, I find that it's kind of irrelevant and it's not useful to me anymore. Is there another tool that I can use for the search engines that you think would be good to keep track?
I use Social Oomph. I can't remember what it used to be called, but it searches terms in Twitter, not all throughout the internet. So that way it's a little more targeted in real time about what people are actually talking about right now. I get those every day.
There's a bunch of services out there that'll track you in social media. There's Tracker is one with UR. There's a startpr.com. If you search for social mentions or social tracking, there's a bunch of them out there. They'll track you through Technorati, Twitter, a bunch of places, give you nice little reporting structures, the whole thing.
I also set up just a column for myself on TweetDeck if I'm following Twitter. I don't know if I'm getting all the stuff that people are saying about me, but whenever someone links back to me, I see it in my Google feed reader. So I haven't tried those other ones.
Yeah. Oh, Google Alerts. Are you using those? Google
That's
Alerts?
what she said. She was using
Okay, I thought you
that.
were using Google Reader. Okay.
It's hard to speak to it without seeing what your Google alerts are, but to a certain degree, I understand what you're saying, especially with a name like Tim Jones and a site like The Real Tim Jones. I tend to get a lot of Tim Joneses that don't relate to me in any way, shape, or form. The thing that I have found that really relates to me is doing a Google alert for my URL. So the Google alert is http therealtimjones.com. Then I get those specific targeted things to me versus all the other random Tim Joneses.
Yeah, I don't have that problem. I got 4 people on the planet with my last name. So.
Sir, with a final question.
Yeah, my name is John McNamara. I own tropicaladventure.com, and I came to Affiliate Summit a couple of years ago. It was all about podcasting. So now blogging seems to be the future, but where do you see the future in blogging?
It's interesting that you mentioned podcasting. Podcasting was something I was actually going to bring up, as that was a way that I really generated a lot of traffic to start, was to get on podcasts, guest podcasts, have my own podcast. I still think podcasting is a very valuable tool for that. I think what you're also going to see is a movement towards video, and whether it's strictly video and building a community just on YouTube or Vidler or on one of the video channels, or pulling that video into your blog and having a video-based site with the content to go along with it. But I really think video is going to be that next step.
I do quite a lot of video interviews, and they're very popular as an ongoing theme. And there are increasingly different companies find different ways to monetize video. And I saw Bayat just brought out a new plugin which came out this week. A number of companies are focusing on that. So yeah, I definitely see video as a way forward.
I'd say video integrated with some of the different social media products that are out there. So say you're checking at Foursquare, why don't you check in with a video or a photo, something like that too. Just integrating and a lot of meshing with the different established and existing sites in there.
I agree. I think the integration of, it's not going to be just video or just podcasting or just social media. It's going to be building trust with people and building your brand and integrating all of that.
And I think part of that is because video makes it real. It makes it, there's real connection. It's really that person doing it. It's got, you know, you can't, it's very difficult to do that under a false identity. You can't really just repurpose that. It's your video, you're talking, you're on screen, or you're featuring the product. And if you're looking at reviewing products, for example, it's always much better to take a personal video or a personal photo of it than use a stock shot of it. And it is that kind of connection that video gives you that other mediums don't.
All right. The final thing I'm going to say is thank you for being here to the panelists, Drew, John, Tim, and Murray. And if we could just give them a round of applause.